How to make sure that you always have enough ripe bananas on hand to satisfy your needs. So here I am in a cabin on an island in Norway, and I want to share with you a little bit about banana logistics, because as every raw vegan fruitarian knows, banana logistics is an interesting subject. How to make sure that you always have enough ripe bananas on hand to satisfy your needs. Well, I'm going to share with you the way I do it, okay? It has to do with temperature, okay? First of all, of course, you need to buy enough bananas. Make sure you always have enough bananas and, buy in advance. You want to be in charge of the ripening process, and that means you have to look ahead of time and buy in bulk, okay? Once you have your bananas at home, you need to essentially make 4 temperature zones in your house, ideally. And I want to show you the zones in my house. Okay, so just to let you know, you need a very cold zone, which is usually the fridge. You need a semi-cold zone. You need a room temperature zone, and you need an extra warm zone. So first, let's take a look at my extra cold zone, okay? That's over here in the fridge. Here, we got the fridge. Fridge is pretty cold, and that's why if your bananas are too ripe and you're not gonna eat them today, you're gonna eat them tomorrow, but they're already super ripe, you put them in the fridge, because that's where they're gonna stay for the longest. So see, I got 2 bananas there, super ripe, and they will keep for tomorrow. And you should avoid putting unripe bananas in the fridge, because that will actually inhibit proper ripening and you will never get a properly ripe banana. So it's better to allow them to ripen outside the fridge and then put them into the fridge, okay? So ripe bananas in the fridge. Next up, we have our room temperature zone, okay? This is my room temperature zone here. I've divided it into 2 actually. These bananas are ripe, but they will ripen further until tomorrow, and tomorrow they will be perfectly ripe for my smoothie. However, these bananas, they're for like 3 or 4 days ahead, so I'm allowing them to ripen here until I can get a better grip on how far they've ripened, and then I'll start, sort of adjusting the time frame of where I'll put them when I see it's getting closer to the day that I'm going to use them. Suppose they were going to be used the day after tomorrow, then I'll be like, oh, they're not going to ripen in time. I need to put them in the hot zone. So let's go over to the hot zone. Here we have the hot zone. So next to the oven here, which is hot, I have these bananas, and I also cover them up to further facilitate ripening, because bananas, they release ethylene gas, which starts the ripening process. So you want to cover them up with something like this. Not plastic though, they need to breathe, but this helps them ripen faster. And it's hot here, probably around, if you can keep it around 28 degrees, 29, even 30, they'll ripen really fast. So these ones, these are my bananas for tomorrow essentially. And I want them to be ripe, but they're not quite ripe, so I'm putting them here so that they will ripen faster. And as I said, if I had some bananas like the other ones there that I was going to use not tomorrow but the day after, and they weren't ripening fast enough, I would put them here for 2 days, to quicken up the process. Last but not least, we have our semi-cold zone, which is in here in the hallway. So because it's pretty cold here, the climate in Norway, and I'm here right now in September, it's not that cold. But if I had to heat up the whole house for the whole day, that would take a lot of energy. So what I do is I close this door, and that way I limit the space that needs to be heated. So this hallway is always cool, borderline cold sometimes. So in here it's probably around maybe 14 degrees, maybe 15 even, something like that. Maybe, you know what, it's even 16 degrees or something like that, 17 maybe even, Celsius. So that's a bit cooler than room temperature. So there I have my bananas. So that's where I put the bananas when I want to slow down the ripening process. Okay, I just want to slow it down a little bit, but not completely put to a halt, which is what would happen if I put them in the fridge. So that's there. Let's turn on the light, off the light, sorry. So just to sort of wrap it up, in room temperature, meaning 20 degrees Celsius up to 24 degrees Celsius, something like that, 25, your bananas will sort of ripen evenly at a certain speed. If you want to slow that speed down a little bit to let your bananas have a longer shelf life, maybe you just want to, oh, they're ripening too fast and I got too many ripe bananas, I want to slow these down for tomorrow or the day after, you put them in the cool room, okay? The semi-cold space. On the other hand, if they're not ripening fast enough and you're like, I want these bananas tomorrow, I want them the day after tomorrow, you put them in the hot space next to the oven. Not too close though, you don't want to burn them. That's where it's probably around 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees Celsius. Now, if you got ripe bananas and they're ripe now and you want them to last until tomorrow, maybe even another day, you put them in the fridge. That halts the process altogether, almost anyway, and you get your bananas to last longer. So that's it basically, pretty straightforward. I mean, maybe it sounds complicated, but it's really pretty obvious. You just, depending on temperature, you either slow down or speed up the ripening process. And that way you'll always be able to sort of have ripe bananas on hand. But you have to, every single day though, spend a couple of minutes assessing your bananas. How are these looking? How are these looking? Okay, I want these tomorrow. They'll be ripe. No, they won't. Put them in the hot space. What about these ones? Oh, they're ripening too fast because I don't want them to be ripe tomorrow. I want them to be ripe the day after. So you have to always assess and look and take feedback from your bananas. And that way you ensure banana sufficiency. And banana sufficiency is possibly the most important thing on a raw vegan diet if you're not in the tropics. Okay, bananas are sustainable, they're cheap, and they will always deliver your calories, which is very important. So stock up on bananas, divide your house into zones, and start your banana logistic operation. If you have any questions or comments or ideas about banana ripening or anything like that, put them down below in the comment section and I'd love to hear from you. See you around.